The political diaspora in post-occupation Japan had been subject to a myriad of shifts, coalitions, and other such alterations in the process of establishing a sense of autonomy. Divisions between factions of conservatism and progressivism were commonplace in the 1950s, with parties such as the Japan Socialist Party being on the forefront of political discourse. The party that had been established and soon became synonymous with the Japanese political process is the LDP, the Liberal Democratic Party. Despite the name, though, the LDP more often than not functions as a right-wing, generally conservative party. Prior to the party's formation, there had been two separate parties facing a division based on certain superficial and rhetorical differences. The Liberal Party, the leading conservative force at the time, had been headed by Yoshida Shigeru. Yoshida had served as the country's prime minister at the time of the initial peace treaty signing, and it was in 1952 that the LP had taken a majority of the electoral government, garnering nearly 50% of the general vote and a subsequent 52 seats in the Diet. The Democratic Party, albeit conservative in its own right, held to a certain degree a social consciousness, a light progressivism per se. Japanese Democrats had been willing to, at certain stages, form coalitions with farther-left political parties, such as the JSP, as a means of countering the reactionary elements of the Liberals. The Democrats eventually ousted the Liberals after various name changes, changes in party membership, and the establishing of a no-confidence vote in order to oust Yoshida Shigeru. The split between the Liberals and the Democrats, however, was not a permanent one. After years of their own splits, the Japan Socialist Party had reformed to establish a single party in 1955. Though not explicitly why, the Liberal Party and the Democratic Party conducted a merger that saw the formation of what has ever since been the Liberal Democratic Party, as a means of curtailing the rise in popularity of the Socialists. The name of the party, however, is a contradiction of the basis and the actions of the party. While divisions and strategies still existed in the LDP, their foundation maintained an essentially anti-democratic process. Upon the formation of the party, the LDP saw itself become the ruling party of Japan for decades, practically turning Japan into a one-party state, even with the JCP, JSP, and other parties maintaining at least some status in the Diet. This dominance of the LDP was not, at least entirely, based on democratic popularity and public reception to their policy. The Liberal Democratic Party, comparable to the political process in the United States, formed itself into the party of big business, lobbying, and other such factors exposing the contradiction of the LDP. The merging of parties itself had been promoted, encouraged, and funded by various forces of the bourgeois elite, partly in fear that if the socialists gained even a modicum of significant power, their capital, among other sources of profit, would be jeopardized. The LDP effectively didn't even create its own legislation. Lobbying groups and other business-type bureaucrats drafted the majority of the laws that went through the legislative process under the Liberal Democratic banner. The contradiction of the LDP goes into both their origin and the very name of the party. Though factions of the Liberal Democrats had been considered more socially conscious and involved with the general public, the party's culmination is built primarily around serving the interests of the capitalist class and other powerful financial giants with strong political influence. Such a liberal democratic party serves more so as a plutocracy, with enfranchisement being consistently shifted towards the ruling powers over the poor and the working class of Japan.